Welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at Outside the Circles of Time by Kenneth Grant.
Very interesting book.
Yeah, you guys sent in quite a few excerpts dealing with some pretty complex concepts.
Right.
Eons,
Hmm.
magical currents, and even entities known as the Forgotten Ones.
That's right.
So, what do you think? Should we jump in and try to unpack some of this?
Absolutely.
All right.
Grant's work is fascinating because it explores these kind of unsettling aspects of reality.
Yeah.
It really pushes us to expand our understanding of, things like time and consciousness.
Yeah.
The very nature of existence itself.
Yeah, right from the start, he introduces this concept of eons,
Right.
these vast periods of time that are influenced by different cosmic forces.
Hmm.
And he's building off of the work of Aleister Crowley here,
Yes.
but he's taking it in some pretty wild directions.
That's right.
He suggests that eons might not even be strictly linear,
Yeah.
and even talks about the possibility of like eons between eons.
That's right.
What do you mean?
Like, we tend to think of time as this straight line,
Uh-huh.
but Grant is proposing that it's more fluid.
Yeah.
More like a multi-dimensional tapestry with layers upon layers of influence.
So, like, could we be experiencing the influence of multiple eons simultaneously?
Potentially.
Wow.
It's a very interesting concept to think about.
Yeah, it's like trying to imagine living in several time zones at once.
Right?
And then there's this even wilder idea that he throws out, the wordless eon.
Yes.
And he connects it to the current state of humanity,
Uh-huh.
which makes you wonder if we're living in this wordless eon right now.
That's certainly a thought-provoking idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if we entertain this possibility that time isn't linear,
Right.
as Grant suggests, then perhaps we're not simply progressing from one eon to the next. Maybe these different eonic influences are always present,
Yeah.
interwoven into the fabric of reality.
So this wordless eon could represent like a shift in how we access and interpret meaning,
Right.
almost a movement away from traditional systems of knowledge and belief.
Precisely.
That's really interesting.
And it's like we're in this kind of transition period where the old ways of understanding the world are breaking down,
Right.
but we haven't quite figured out what will replace them.
Yeah.
And this idea of a breakdown of traditional structures is further explored through Grant's concept of the double current.
Okay.
He introduces Ma'at,
Okay.
the Egyptian concept of truth, justice, and cosmic order, as a central figure.
Mm-hmm.
But he proposes that Ma'at's influence isn't something that will come in the future.
Okay.
Instead, it's accessible now
Right.
through this double current with Horus.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Sure.
What does this double current actually mean?
It's not a simple case of one eon replacing another.
Right.
Grant suggests that these forces are interwoven, operating simultaneously.
Okay.
He sees the work of the Eon of Horus, which Crowley emphasized,
Yes.
as a necessary preparation for the emergence of the Mason consciousness.
So it's like these two seemingly opposing forces, Horus and Ma'at,
Right.
are actually working together in
Yeah.
a dynamic interplay to propel human evolution forward.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this idea of a dance, of a complex interplay of energies, is central to Grant's understanding of magic and consciousness.
Now, Grant brings in this term ipsos,
Yeah.
which seems to be key to understanding the Aeon of Ma'at.
Yes.
And it appears in Liber Penai Praenumbra, a channeled work by Soror Andahadna,
Right.
a modern priestess of Ma'at.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like we're going deep down the rabbit hole here.
Absolutely.
So what's the significance of ipsos? What role does it play in this larger cosmic drama that Grant's outlining?
Andahadn describes Ipsos as a word of power, a key to unlocking the mysteries of the Mason current.
Uh-huh.
And she claims that this word was revealed to her through contact with entities from Sirius, the dog star,
Wait, hold on.
and even from Andromeda, the galaxy.
Entities from Sirius and Andromeda.
Yes.
Are we talking about extraterrestrials here?
It's certainly a possibility.
This is getting even more mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it?
Ah,
Grant and Andahadna suggest that there's this network of cosmic intelligence guiding human evolution,
okay.
and that through certain practices, including ritual and the expansion of consciousness,
Right.
we can tap into this network and access its wisdom.
Okay, my head is spinning a bit,
I can imagine.
but in a good way.
Good.
So far, we've got these concepts of overlapping eons, a double current involving Horus and Ma'at,
Right?
a mysterious word of power.
Yes.
And even the suggestion of extraterrestrial influence.
That's a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in.
But remember, we're just scratching the surface here.
Right.
Grant's work is dense with ideas and connections.
Yeah.
As we delve deeper,
Yeah.
we'll encounter even more intriguing concepts,
Mm-hmm.
including those unsettling entities known as the Forgotten Ones.
Right. The forgotten ones.
Yeah,
They seem to be lurking in the shadows, waiting to make their entrance.
they are.
But before we venture into that territory,
Yep.
let's take a moment to process everything we've discussed so far.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
Let these ideas settle.
Hey, right.
And consider what resonates with you.
Okay.
What sparks your curiosity? What challenges your existing beliefs?
We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into outside the circles of time.
Yes, we will.
Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. Welcome back.
Okay, I'm still processing everything we talked about in that last part.
Lots to take in.
Yeah, especially those hints about, extraterrestrial influence and
Mm.
this mysterious, wordless eon. But I think I'm ready now to face those shadowy entities we've been kind of skirting around.
Right.
The forgotten ones.
Yes.
What can you tell us about them?
Well, as we touched on earlier, the Forgotten Ones are these powerful, often monstrous entities that are associated with the night side of reality. They're
Huh.
connected to the subconscious,
And-
the hidden aspects of the Tree of Life,
Right.
and even the infamous Necronomicon,
Oh, wow.
that mythical grimoire of dark lore.
So are these forgotten ones inherently evil?
Well,
Should we be terrified of them?
Grant doesn't necessarily view them as malevolent.
Okay.
He sees them as primal forces that can be both terrifying and awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
They represent the raw, untamed power that exists beyond our normal perception.
Okay.
And while they can be dangerous, he also believes they can be tapped into for magical power and knowledge.
So it's like they're these wild cards in the cosmic deck.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Capable of both destruction and creation.
And Grant actually provides a ritual for invoking these entities,
He does.
though he cautions against attempting it without proper preparation and guidance.
Of course.
The ritual involves going to a high place,
Yeah.
preferably overlooking the sea, under the night sky.
Yes, very evocative.
I can see it now, standing on a cliff,
Right.
wind howling, waves crashing below, and these ancient entities emerge from the darkness.
It's quite a powerful image.
It's the stuff of nightmares, but also strangely alluring.
It is.
But the ritual itself is very specific.
Right.
It involves using certain sigils and devices, visualizations, drumming, and even the power of sound to create a gateway.
Yes. All of those elements are important.
Now, Grant also mentions using blood,
Yes.
specifically menstrual blood, in your ritual.
Yes. It adds a layer of intensity, for sure.
Yeah, and not to mention a connection to those ancient practices.
Absolutely. The use of blood in ritual has a long history in many traditions,
Right.
often symbolizing life force, sacrifice, or a link to the primal aspects of existence.
And then there's this entity called Lamb,
Yes.
which Crowley apparently made contact with back in 1919.
That's right.
What's the story with Lamb?
Right.
Is it one of these forgotten ones or something else entirely?
Grant describes Lamb as a link between the star systems of Sirius and Andromeda,
Okay.
which ties back to those hints of extraterrestrial influence we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Right. He suggests that several members of the OTO,
Crowley's organization.
Crowley's organization,
Yeah.
have encountered Lamb since that initial contact.
So if I'm following correctly,
Okay.
we've got these forgotten ones,
Hmm.
possibly remnants of a pre-human race connected to the Necronomicon and the darker aspects of reality.
Right.
And then we have Lamb,
Yes.
this intergalactic entity linked to Sirius and Andromeda.
Uh-huh.
And somehow they're all part of this larger cosmic play that Grant's outlining.
That's a pretty good summation.
Wow.
Grant is suggesting that there are forces at play beyond our normal perception.
Right.
Forces that have influenced humanity in the past and continue to do so in the present.
He even hints that these forgotten ones might be trying to make a comeback,
He does.
especially since the development of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, which he sees as a kind of rift in the fabric of reality.
Okay, now that's a chilling thought.
It is a bit unsettling.
Are we talking about a potential alien invasion here?
It's certainly a possibility to consider.
It's like something straight out of a Lovecraftian horror story, but with a modern twist.
It does tap into those primal fears, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Grant is also suggesting that these forces aren't inherently evil.
Right.
It's how we choose to engage with them that determines their impact on our lives and the world.
Precisely.
Somewhat reassuring.
I'm glad to hear that.
But where does Mott fit into all this?
Okay.
She's the goddess of truth, justice, and order, right?
That's right.
How do those concepts relate to these shadowy entities and the potential for cosmic chaos?
That's where things get even more complex.
Okay.
And I think incredibly insightful.
Right.
Grant sees Mott as a balancing force.
Mm-hmm.
He suggests that her eon is not necessarily in the future,
Okay.
but potentially accessible now, as we discussed earlier, through the double current with Horus.
So it's not exactly a cosmic tug-of-war between these opposing forces?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's more like a delicate dance.
Okay.
Remember, Grant sees the work of the Eon of Horus as preparing the way for the Mason consciousness, right? He believes that by engaging with those primal forces, those darker aspects of reality,
Yeah.
we can ultimately integrate them and achieve a higher state of balance and understanding.
It's fascinating that he wrote all this back in 1980.
I know.
Like he's peering into the future,
Yeah,
seeing the trajectory of human development and the potential for a shift in
it's
consciousness.
remarkable, isn't it?
But how do we actually access this Mason consciousness?
Yeah.
How do we navigate this complex cosmic dance?
Grant, and particularly Andahadna in her channeled works, emphasize the importance of ritual.
Okay.
They specifically point to the Massive Mott as a way to connect with the Mason current and tap into its power.
But wait, isn't
Mhm.
there also this idea that the massive Mott involves some kind of interaction with extraterrestrial beings?
There is.
That seems like a pretty big leap.
It does, but remember, we're dealing with a system of thought that embraces the concept of multiple realities,
Okay.
interconnectedness, and the potential for contact with beings beyond our normal perception.
Yeah.
Grant and Andahadna suggest that this contact can be facilitated through ritual and the expansion of consciousness.
So we've got these rituals,
Yeah.
sigils, entities from other dimensions, star systems, and even a potential close encounter of the third kind.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is. What's the key takeaway here?
Yeah.
What does Grant want us to understand about all of this?
I think the key takeaway is that reality is far more complex and interconnected
Yeah.
than we typically perceive it.
It seems that way.
Grant is encouraging us to explore the hidden dimensions of existence,
Mm-hmm.
the forces that shape our lives,
Right.
and the potential for human evolution through engagement with the night side of reality.
He's basically saying, hey, wake up.
Exactly.
There's a lot more going on than you realize.
That's right.
And you have the power to tap into it.
Exactly. Grant isn't just presenting a system of belief.
Okay.
He's issuing a call to action.
Yeah.
He's inviting us to explore these concepts, experiment with these rituals, and see for ourselves the potential for transformation and understanding they offer.
It's a challenge,
It is.
but also a fascinating one.
Absolutely.
Like he's handing us a map to a hidden universe.
Yes.
And saying, go explore.
That's a great way to put it.
But before we set off on our own cosmic expeditions,
Right.
let's take a moment to gather our thoughts and prepare for the final leg of our journey through outside the circles of time.
Take a breath, reflect on what we've discussed, and consider the implications for your own understanding of the universe.
We'll be back soon to wrap things up and explore some final thoughts. Okay, we are back for the final part of our deep dive into Kenneth Grant's Outside the Circles of Time.
One of the more challenging books we've looked at.
Yeah, this has been a wild ride.
It has.
We've covered so much ground from, overlapping eons and those shadowy entities to even a potential alien invasion
It's a lot.
and a cosmic shift in consciousness.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to process.
Where do we even begin to unpack all of this?
Well, I think it helps to step back and consider the overall picture that Grant is painting for us.
Okay.
He's presenting a universe that's far more complex and mysterious than we typically imagine.
Right.
A universe teeming with unseen forces, ancient powers, and a vast web of interconnectedness.
So essentially, he's challenging us to expand our perception of reality,
Exactly.
to acknowledge the possibility of things that, might seem outlandish or even frightening at first.
To really open our minds to what might be possible.
Yeah.
And he's asking us to consider that we're not just passive observers in this cosmic play,
Okay.
but active participants.
So we have the power to shape reality
That's the idea.
through our thoughts, actions, and rituals.
It's a powerful concept.
It's a very powerful concept. It can be empowering, but it can also be kind of daunting.
Absolutely, it's both.
Yeah, it's like standing on the edge of a precipice,
Yeah.
looking out into this vast, unknown territory.
A lot of people would rather turn back and not look.
But Grant doesn't suggest we go it alone, right?
No, he doesn't.
He emphasizes the role of, groups like the OTO
Yes.
and the guidance of individuals who have already traversed these paths.
And those who have gone before us
Right.
can be invaluable guides.
And speaking of mentors, we've talked a lot about Sororandahadna,
Yes.
the modern priestess of Mott.
She's a fascinating figure.
So he seems to be like a living embodiment of someone who's actively engaging with these forces
Absolutely.
and bringing these ideas into the present.
And her channeled works, like Liber Pene Praenumbra
Right.
and the Book of the Forgotten Ones,
Yeah.
provide a unique perspective on the Mediation current and its potential to transform human consciousness.
And she claims to have received, direct communication from entities associated with Sirius and Andromeda.
Which again ties back into Grant's emphasis on extraterrestrial influence.
And remember that word ipsos from Liber Pene Praenumbra.
How could we forget?
Right.
Quite a word.
And Dadahadna describes it as the key to unlocking the Eon of Mott.
Like a password to a higher level of reality.
Yeah, it's a powerful image.
It is.
And it speaks to this idea that there are hidden pathways.
Right.
Secret codes embedded within the fabric of reality.
It suggests that we're not just stumbling around in the dark.
Right.
There's a kind of cosmic intelligence, a network of guidance available to those who seek it.
So to bring it all together, we've got these forgotten ones. These potentially dangerous,
Right.
but also potentially powerful entities lurking in the shadows.
Always there.
We've got a cosmic comedy of stars guiding our development, whispering secrets through chosen individuals,
Like Andahadna.
Gandahadna.
Right.
We've got rituals and sigils that can unlock hidden dimensions.
Yeah.
And potentially put us in contact with beings, from beyond our normal perception.
And then there's that Mediation current promising a new age of truth, justice, and order.
Right. So how does it all fit together?
That's the big question.
What's the ultimate message that Grant is trying to convey?
Well, I don't think Grant is offering a definitive answer.
Okay.
I think he's inviting us to participate in the mystery,
Right.
to engage in the exploration itself.
So the journey is just as important as the destination.
Exactly. He's handing us a compass and a map
Yeah.
and saying, go explore.
So what does this all mean for us, the listeners?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
That's up to each individual to decide.
Should we be building altars?
Well,
Chanting mantras?
no.
Trying to contact Lamb? I'm half joking, but also I'm genuinely curious.
I think the most important thing is to allow these ideas to spark your own curiosity.
Yeah.
Explore Grant's work further.
Mm-hmm.
Research the concepts that resonate with you.
Okay.
And consider the implications for your own understanding of reality and your place in the universe.
You might even want to try some of the practices that he outlines,
You could.
but always proceed with caution and discernment.
Absolutely.
You're right. It's about personal exploration, discernment, and taking responsibility for our own evolution. It's about choosing to engage with the mystery, the unknown, and the potential that lies dormant within us all.
Beautifully said.
Well, this deep dive into outside the circles of time has been quite a journey.
It has.
I hope it's left you with a sense of wonder,
I hope so.
a thirst for further exploration, and perhaps even a glimpse into those hidden dimensions
It would be great.
that Grant so passionately sought to reveal.
It would.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.